Good morning, folks. It's early Tuesday morning. I can barely see the clock in my room. It's at such a short, sharp angle from where I'm sitting. But it looks like it's just before 8 a.m. I'm sitting upstairs in my family room, prepared to record this week's message of hope. I have to say, I'm getting more comfortable with this method of talking to you, despite the fact that it's a one-sided conversation. But at least this way you won't argue with me, will you? It's quiet up here. I'm thankful for that. The loudest thing I hear is the ticking of the second hand on the clock. Really, it sounds more like a brush softly hitting a cymbal. All I can hear downstairs is the muffled sound of the TV in the living room. I know that Susan is watching it. CNN, probably. She likes being informed, as do I, especially about the pandemic. The information gives us hope, I suppose, during these trying times. So here I am upstairs and Susan down. I'm set to record a message that I can only pray will bring hope to those who need to break out of their despair. Let's face it, in towns and cities around the world, despair is rampant. Everywhere, people are living a nightmare that just won't end. And many of us are living that nightmare too. We're uncomfortable with this new way of living, aren't we? We're stuck inside. We're wearing masks. We're standing outside grocery stores 6 feet apart, waiting to go in. Or we're ordering our food online and waiting 5 or 6 days for delivery. We're speaking to our family and friends from balconies or from the ends of driveways. We lack control over most things, don't we? And there's no end in sight. These are hard times, and there's very little we can do to fix things. Deep in our hearts, we know that normal isn't coming back anytime soon. In fact, the new normal, when it does come, won't be anything like it was before all this started. Nevertheless, I hold out hope that this pandemic will soon end. I continue to hope that people will do what is necessary to end it sooner rather than later, and with the lowest number of deaths possible. I continue to hope that the flag-waving, MAGA-hatted people to the south of us will stop demonstrating in tight packs and just go home. I continue to hope that our own federal funding will keep flowing to the companies and to the individuals who need it most. I continue to hope that Susan and I can remain calm over the hours and the days and weeks to come. Indeed, every day, I continue to hope. And you know what keeps me going? What keeps my hope alive? Gratitude. Because gratitude, among other things, seems to chip away at hopelessness. Gratitude, it seems, can temper despair. Susan insists on making it part of the grace that we say at mealtimes. The Roman statesman and philosopher, Marcus Tullius Cicero, he wrote this: "Gratitude is not only the greatest of all virtues, but the progenitor of all virtues." In other words, gratitude gives birth to all other virtue. Rabbi Brian Mayer, he writes this: "The shifts of our gaze to gratitude moves us to look out the window pane of enoughness, as opposed to the window pane of lack and scarcity and complaints. And thereby gratitude changes our attitude, and thereby the world. Gratitude in the present opens space for future hope." They're beautiful words, aren't they? And so with gratitude in your hearts, I'm going to ask you again to participate in the exercise I suggested you do last week. First, go to the messaging app on your phone or your tablet. If you prefer, email works too. That's fine. Scroll down 1 or 2 pages of recent messages and randomly select an entry. Then write to that person something like this. I was just thinking about you and wanted to make sure you were okay. If you wish, you can repeat the process until you've sent 5 messages. It's simple and it's easy. You see, acknowledging people, even in a simple text message, changes not only their lives, but also the lives of the people with whom they interact. And this simple act will change your life too. And soon you'll see hope begins to trickle into every heart. Václav Havel, he's the former popular leader of Czechoslovakia. He wrote extensively about hope. In fact, Havel spent some years in prison, which no doubt affected his outlook. Here is some of what he writes. Quote, "The kind of hope I often think about, especially in situations that are particularly hopeless, such as prison, I understand above all else as a state of mind, not a state of the world. Either we have hope within us or we don't. Hope is not prognostication. It's an orientation of the spirit, an orientation of the heart. It transcends the world that is immediately experienced and is anchored somewhere beyond its horizons. Hope, in a deep and powerful sense, is not the same as joy that things are going well, or willingness to invest in enterprises that are obviously headed for early success, but rather an ability to work for something just because it is good, not because it stands a chance to succeed. The more unpromising the situation in which we demonstrate hope, the deeper that hope is. Hope is not the same thing as optimism. It is not the conviction that something will turn out well, but the certainty that something just makes sense, regardless of how it turns out. Havel goes on to say, the deepest and most important form of hope, the only one that can keep us above water and urge us toward good works, and the only true source of the breathtaking dimension of the human spirit and its efforts, is something we get, as it were, from elsewhere. It is also this hope, above all, that gives us the strength to live and continually try new things, even in conditions that seem as hopeless as ours do, here and now. That, I think, is hope in the deep and powerful sense. It has nothing to do with what's happening around us. It's something internal. It's something, I might add, as a Christian minister, that is akin to faith in many ways, isn't it? That which finds its ground or its origin in something greater than ourselves. Hope, it's not optimism. Hope is doing the right thing no matter what. The world can come at you with hate or injustice or unfairness or a virus or a quarantine or a layoff or anything else inconvenient, disorienting, nasty, frightful, hurtful, or evil. And you come back at it even stronger, even more committed to love and to the doing of good works. That is what hope is. Because you see, as long as we hold on to what is truly important, as long as we are kind to others and to ourselves, and put the health and the well-being of others first, as long as we choose hope whenever we can, then the world, or at least our world, is a better place and worth living in. So, my friends, do practice true hope. Stay safe and think about the safety of others. And until next week, God bless and take care. Peace.